If you're wanting to make broken glass effects just like this, just stick around and watch the rest of this video. Creating broken glass can be used for a multitude of things in Blender, such as like abandoned warehouses, abandoned shops, anything to look really run down, and it's a very interesting technique to learn. So I'm going to show you how to do it. It's very easy and it shouldn't take too much time. First off, what we need to do is go into the Preferences tab under the Edit menu. You need to go to Add-ons. You need to find the Cell Fracture add-on, which should be first up if you just search it in here, and just make sure you tick it, and it should show up in your Object menu, Quick Effects, right here if you've done it right. Prior knowledge of Blender and modeling should be very beneficial to you if you're watching this tutorial. Broken glass isn't something that you'd really need if you're starting to learn just starting to learn Blender in general. I mean, obviously you'll need something to model around the broken glass if you'd want to do it. So yeah, make sure you have that in your back pocket before watching this tutorial. This was also done on Blender 2.93, and I'm using the Eevee render engine. And this video is basically for everyone that is just wanting to learn Blender in a more integral way and wanting to create this effect with not too much hassle. First off, you're going to want to make a frame, obviously, for your window. Creating a window frame is very easy in Blender. All you need to do, and the easiest way that I found to do it, is to take your frame that you have and copy it and paste it, size it down a tad, and just size it along the x-axis so it sticks out the front and back side. This is a very basic frame, by the way. You'd then want to add a Boolean modifier to the frame of it and make sure it's set to difference and the solver is fast, and then take your eyedrop tool on the object section and click on the other cube. You should now see that the orange outline is showing that there's nothing in the middle here. So what you can do is you can apply the Boolean and delete the inside cube, and there you go, you have a frame. Now what you want to do is create a place for the glass to go, which is obviously the middle section of the frame. So what you want to do is you want to add a plane and align it with view while you're on front view mode, and size it so it fits your frame. Once that is in nicely, what you want to do is you want to try and get some thickness to this, because obviously glass isn't paper thin. What you want to do is first you want to take the plane to the back of the frame. There we go. And then try and leave enough space for what you'd want on the other side as well. And then go into edit mode, select the front face and extrude it to around the same place as the back. See, that is not in line, so I'd like to go back and do that again. That seems a bit better. So now that we have our actual window, I'm going to color the frame a different color. I'm going to go into my materials tab, create a new material and make the base color black. So now we have the difference between our window and our actual frame. Now we're going to create the actual broken glass, and the easiest way that I found to do this is first off, take your annotate pen over here on the left hand side and draw on the pane where you would actually like your broken glass to be. So you do this by drawing circles on it, and if you want more cracks like on the inside like a spider web, you can draw more and more circles on the inside. So there you go, that is how I want my broken glass to look. And now that you've done that, you can now go to your object, quick effects, and get the cell fracture tool from before, the one that we got from the add-ons menu, and it'll come up with this menu. You want to select annotation pencil on the right hand side, and then the source limit is the amount of shards that you will get from the broken glass. I would usually go for around 250 to 500 depending on how big the glass is. We'll go for 300 on this one. I wouldn't mess with anything else, but one thing I would do is create a collection. So if you click here, you can just name a new collection, and that will add all of the shards into the collection in your right hand side tab. Oh, another thing, it says show progress real time. If you don't have the greatest computer in the world, I would turn this off so then it doesn't maybe crash it while it's trying to show you it, but for me it's not too much of a problem, so I'm going to keep it on, just something to keep in mind. And then I'll click OK. And there you go, you can see we have our broken glass here. So we can go into our annotation pencil, hold left click, and then go to annotation eraser, and then just get rid of all of the annotations that we made. And one thing to know is that the original pane that you created will still be there, so make sure to select it, make sure to select the correct one, and then delete it by just pressing delete on your keyboard. So as you can see, it's quite difficult to see because there's no material on this right now, but there is broken glass there. So now we want to add our material to it. So what you want to do is find a big chunk of glass that you can see and then add a new material. First off, you want to set the roughness to 0 and you want to set the transmission to 1. So now, as you can see, it is transparent, but I set up this blue backdrop before, so just so you can see this, but it's actually not, you cannot see the blue backdrop behind it. You can only see the HDRI that I put in before, so this is going to be a problem. First thing I want to do though is actually select all of my broken glass. See, this is why you needed to create the collection. So if you right click on your collection, then select objects. If you hold shift, left click on the glass that has the material on it, control L, and then link materials, then the whole thing should become glass. And now you can just work from the material itself. To make sure that we can see things in the background from our glass, you want to go to material properties and turn on screen space refraction. You then want to go to the render properties over here and also turn on screen space reflections. So as you can see, it doesn't look too perfect yet, as you can't really see like the intricate details of the glass through the other pieces of glass. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our shading tab and make sure that we have the glass material selected, and we're going to add a transparent node. But on its own this won't work, so what we need to do is add a mix shader. And add the principled BDSF on the top one and the transparency on the bottom one. So now it is creating a perfect mix of the transparency, but you can't actually see it right now. The reason we can't see it is because we haven't set up some material properties. So what you want to do is go to your material in your material settings, and then the blend mode and shadow mode should be changed to alpha hashed. And there you go. Now you can see some more details in the glass, and you can switch between however you like it, but somewhere in between. 0.5 is probably what you want to keep it at. We then want to add a Fresnel, which basically allows the glass, so when you come to the left and the right hand side of it, it's a lot more lighter, but when you're looking at it head on, it's a lot darker. But to control it even more, you can add a color ramp, stick it in between the Fresnel and the mix shader, and you can change the color, and it will go in between your transparency and the mix shade and the actual glass shader itself. So for glass doors, I think something around here is good. You can't see the glass too much, but it's also very clear, and it adds those intricate details as well. And sometimes, as you can see, there's a little bit of grain on the glass, on the glass. Sorry, as you can see over here, there's a little bit of grain here. So to try and reduce that, you can actually go to your render settings up here and change the sample size. So we'll probably, like, if you change it to say 500, like it can barely show when you're fully zoomed in. Like on the sides, it's all gone now. But obviously some computers are going to be better than others, and if we're going for an average sample size for something like this, I'd go for maybe 100 to 125. And there you go, you can still see it slightly, but it's not too bad at all. So yeah, there you go, there is your broken glass tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it was helpful.